You know that second episode's weird ending when the Doctor sings, "There's always a twist at the end"?
Oh yeah, that was fun and weird.
Well, all I can say about Dot and Bubble is... damn. Hey, Commander Fennec here, and you need to give Dot and Bubble time to play to the end, because if you don't, you'll leave with a completely different impression of what it's all about. Yeah, because at first you think it's going to be a run-of-the-mill Doctor Who monster story with the Doctor having to save some hapless people. People who look like they're a representation of today's extremes. Rich, young, online influencers who are totally dependent on tech and treat the lightest of workloads as unbearable hardship. We view the world through Lindy, who, like everyone else on her world, surrounds herself with a literal bubble of social media, only interacting with her like-minded friends and being so dependent on the technology, she needs it to tell her how to walk and even if she needs to pee or not. Although there are some funny moments throughout the episode because of that, she's definitely a broad caricature of a helpless person. So encrusted is she in her bubble, she doesn't even want to listen to the Doctor who barges in to warn her of an actual danger to her life. Thing is, this would be an unremarkable run-of-the-mill story, nothing to write home about. We could mention the Doctor's hardly in it.
You're right, he's only physically in the last scene. All the others were shot with him on his own or with Ruby against a green screen.
Another Doctor Light episode, just like last week.
At least this time we got an explanation why, and I thought there was enough going on to distract us from the lack of his physical presence.
Yeah, but that's 2 episodes in a row, in a series of 8. That's a big chunk where the main character is hardly present.
Only 8?
Yeah, this season is a pretty short one.
But we've barely got to know the Doctor and Ruby.
Let's just get back to the story then. Yes, for most of the runtime, it felt very uninspiring. I'd even go as far to say boring. And if viewers gave up before the end, the impression would be pretty lackluster. There were 2 whammy moments, which really made me question what kind of person the Doctor was actually saving.
The first one came out of nowhere, when Lindy just turned on the nicest influencer that happened to be saving her life. Oh, Ricky September, he was such a dreamboat. He barely used social media himself, read about history, and he could even walk.
Not anymore. That event really made me wonder why the Doctor was saving such a person. The Doctor doesn't discriminate. Remember when he saved a child in the middle of a minefield? He did everything to make sure the child was safe, only to realize that kid would grow up to be Davros.
Oh yeah, that was a moment. Made him stop using his sonic screwdriver for a while.
Plus here, he had no idea Lindy was capable of just twisting an event to get someone killed. He sees people in need of help. That's all the motivation he needs. Until the ending. Yeah, until the ending. I must admit, I did not see it coming. All the signs were there, though, if you knew what to look for. Oh, absolutely. And I did hear those highly questionable things she said, but I just thought she was just an insensitive, uncouth, spoiled rich kid, not a horrible, murdering racist. Thing is, all the residents were the same.
Even Ricky?
We'll never know for sure, but what are the odds in a world where everyone's a racist that he wouldn't be? The Doctor's tackled racism before, most obviously in Thin Ice, where he literally decked a racist who was being so disgusting toward Bill. But here, as he's black himself, he experienced direct and blatant racism firsthand.
It was pretty shocking.
So what are you gonna do, eh? Disgusting racist would prefer to take their chances in the wild and likely die if they've no idea how to live without technology, than be contaminated by being too close to a black man and his voodoo box. I say, let them die. That's not who the Doctor is. He was even prepared to not even try and change their minds if they were willing to be helped by him. They didn't want his help. They made their bed, Commander.
It was so blatant, though.
It was, and that's why people will be talking about this episode, which can only be a good thing. I enjoyed the fact that this was a proper sci-fi story with no fantastical element. Shows that RTD can still write sci-fi if he wants to. I have a problem with the story, though. It's like you just look for problems, McClock. No, I don't. But if they come up, I need to point them out.
Fair enough. So what's your issue?
It's about the AI, really. Okay. It grew to hate the population. Seeing how we discovered how they really were, it's something I can easily relate. But why create the slugs to eat the humans?
Because it couldn't kill them itself?
Well, I thought that too, until Lindy's Dot went all Speedy Gonzales and killed Ricky. If they could do that, why bother with creating giant human-eating slugs?
Maybe the slugs were indigenous to the FaceTime moon and the dots merely led them through?
Nah. First of all, the security is so tight they wouldn't even let a black man through. Secondly, these slugs were controlled, eating people alphabetically. And thirdly, we saw them on the main homeworld, where they killed everyone. So I think the Doctor was right. The dots created them, which circles me back to why.
Maybe they didn't want people to realize the dots were killing them?
The dots could have killed them in seconds, like they did Ricky. Or, as nearly all the population were utterly dependent on them, they could have led them to walk into unfortunate accidents. If you want to kill someone and have complete control over them, you can do so in all sorts of creative ways. No slug necessary.
And that's where RTD's grasp on sci-fi wobbles, I guess. What's good about this episode, though, is the shock reveal which makes you want to watch it again to see how obvious the signs were when you know what to look for.
Yeah, clues like Lindy saying, "I thought you just looked the same," when she saw the Doctor again after having blocked him.
Or her saying, "I think he's not as stupid as he looks."
This was a well-written story in that respect, with a highly effective shock ending, skillfully turning protagonists into antagonists, and yes, with a sci-fi premise that doesn't really hold up to any scrutiny.
3 more episodes to go. Will we watch the next one?
At this rate, we might as well. I mean, I want to know why Susan Twist keeps appearing everywhere, don't you?
Oh yeah, she was Lindy's mother.
And this time, both Ruby and the Doctor noticed they'd seen her before.